Hi, I am Esther Lay. I am a missionary with Wycliffe Bible Translators. I want to share with you about the ministry that God is calling me to do.
The Bible. It's one of the oldest and most popular books of all time. But is it just a book? Or is it much more than that? At Wycliffe, we believe that the Bible is literally God's word to us, and we think everyone deserves to hear it in a language they can clearly understand. But here's the problem. Not everyone has access to God's word. In fact, people from around 2,000 language groups are still waiting for their Bible translation to begin. That's approximately 200 million men, women, and children who don't have a single word of the Bible in a language they can clearly understand. When people finally get the Bible in their own language, lives often change in amazing ways. We've seen people freed from addictions, saved from violent lifestyles, and rescued from some very dark corners of their own hearts. Men and women have found forgiveness for past wrongs, and relationships have been restored, each empowered by the truth and wisdom of God's Word. But the most important thing about the Bible, the thing that makes translation so crucial, is that it leads people to Jesus Christ and a right relationship with God. That's why Wycliffe exists. It's why we're working with more than 1,500 language communities right now to help them get God's Word. And no matter what it takes, we won't stop until all people have the Bible in a language they can understand.
There are many steps in the process of Bible translation. I am privileged to do the very first step, which is language survey. As you have watched the video that there are still about 2,000 languages that have no written systems, meaning they have a language that they speak, but do not know what it looks like in writing. These languages are located all around the world, in Africa, Americas, Asia, Europe, and the Pacific. Before a linguist comes to a language group to study and write down the language, a survey must be done in that country at large. That is my duty. I will be traveling from community to community in the country that I am going to in Southeast Asia to collect data from each language group, comparing the similarity of each language. Check to see which group already has the Bible translated into their language, whether they are using their Bible, why or why not. Which group is in the process of translation? Who is doing it? Do they need help? The rest of the time, I will be writing report of my findings. I already completed training for my surveying work. I still have another training coming up at the end of January to the end of February. I am planning to leave the U.S. to mainland Southeast Asia in early March of 2017. There are people who live day in and day out without God. They can't call to their Creator when they need help because they do not know Him, and they can't pray to Jesus. Tragically, death and eternal damnation is the only future awaiting them. And that is the reality of all human state. Without Jesus Christ, there is no life here on earth, and there is no future but eternal condemnation. I knew this. I believed this because I have my Bible in my own heart language. But there are so many unreached groups with no Bible at all. How can they know? How can they hear? I remember the words of Romans 10, verses 14 to 15. How then will they call on Him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in Him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? I would appreciate your prayerful consideration to partner with my Wycliffe ministry in prayer and financial support. Bible translation for the unreached is a great task and a high-impact investment. I trust that the synergy of our mission will result in a partnership that helps bring the Bible to the Bible-less language groups for God's glory. And for that, I would be most grateful.